Hi everybody, we're back here with the 10th installment of the BioLayne Video Log. I hope everybody had a great holiday and Happy New Year. And just a few things about what's going on with me personally. I have a powerlifting meet coming up January 19th. Some of you may know that I have pledged $1 for every pound that I squat towards charities defined by the families of the victims of the Sandy Hook school shooting. So I'll be sending $1 for every pound I squat there. And I'm also donating every dime or every penny that I receive, all the profits that I get from any shirt sales from Outwork Apparel over the next 2 months to the same charities. So if you guys haven't visited Outwork Apparel store, by the way, they're also donating a certain amount from every shirt towards the same charities as well. So if you haven't visited Outwork Apparel yet, other than the fact they're my sponsor, they're great guys, and obviously now they're trying to do a real nice thing. So I know a lot of people were affected by that tragedy, myself included, being that I'm going to be a new father coming up here. So realize there's nothing you can do to reduce those people's pain, but if I can send a little bit of money towards charities that they think will be helpful, then happy to do that. As far as that meet, that'll be, like I said, January 19th. I'm looking forward to it. I've had really good training for my squat. I just hit last weekend 555 pounds for 9 reps. So my squat, I think, is going to be well into the mid 600s. I'm excited to see what it is. Bench has been going okay. I think I'll get close to 4. Deadlift is another matter. I pulled my arm out of socket deadlifting a few weeks ago, and it was fine. It was kind of just popped out and popped back in, but I haven't really been able to test it lately, so that we'll just have to see how that goes. It was very strange. I was warming up at 405 and just popped that out of socket. So, but we're going to give it a go anyway and give it a ride and see what happens. So hopefully it'll heal up, and if not, I'll just hit a huge squat and that'll be the end of it. So I want to talk about the last video log real quick. Metabolic damage, by far my most popular video log, which I'm really happy about. I'm glad a lot of people saw that. I'm glad they got the information out there. I probably got 300 emails within the first week from people, I would say the majority of which were bikini or figure competitors, with the tagline "help" in the subject line, with the word "help" in the subject line. And it kind of breaks my heart. I mean, I'm glad that information gets out there, but it's actually kind of disheartening to see just how widespread this whole thing is, and how poorly some people have been advised. And so I want to talk today about coaches. And I'm not going to sit here and say this coach is good, this coach is bad, etc., etc. And I think a lot of people will see this video and say, oh, well, he's just trying to get more clients for himself. And I realize there's no way to make people feel like I'm not doing that, because I do run a business, I do make money from coaching people. However, I have almost more clients asking to come on than I can take on at this point. I'm turning away probably 60 to 70 to 80% of people. I haven't checked it out, but it's definitely over half I'm turning away at this point. But you know, if you are interested, please do email me, because we can sit down and figure out if it's something that may work or may not work. And if it doesn't, I'm happy to refer you to people that I trust. There's a lot of really, really good coaches out there. There's also a lot of really, really, really bad ones. And some of the worst ones are some of the ones that have the biggest teams, some of the ones that are very popular, because they either don't care about their clients, it's just a factory, they're trying to move them through as quick as they can, or they just care about placings. I always tell people, look, if you're only concerned about placings, I may not be the best guy for you, because I'm not willing to do some of the stuff that other coaches do in terms of I don't go to shows. I go to shows, but I don't go to shows and walk up to the judges that I'm buddies with and say, hey, you got to watch out for number 15 or whatever it is. I'm not saying they buy placings or anything like that, but, there's definitely, I've definitely seen some things that I certainly would approve of ethically. And so, those are things I'm not willing to do. Now, one thing I will do is I work as hard as I possibly can for people to get them in the best shape possible to hit their personal goals. And typically that results in good placings. I mean, if you come in at your best ever, and you're feeling good and your metabolism's in good shape, I mean, you're going to have good placings. That's just kind of how it works. But, I can't promise that, you're going to go win a pro card or anything like that. It's just a lot of stuff that plays into that sort of thing. And I'm not sitting here saying, oh, it's all politics or whatever, because it's not. I mean, for the most part, at the end of the day, your placing is mostly going to be determined by how you look. But I've just seen some coaches that I think it's one thing to be not very good at what you do, but it's another thing to be unethical about how you do it. And I've seen some coaches who are very influential in the industry, who they've done bad things for clients, they've destroyed metabolisms, they've treated them poorly, and then the client is afraid to, the beauty of capitalism is that if somebody thinks you did a crappy job, they go tell other people and they don't hire you. Well, the problem is that since these people are so influential within the industry, if you go say, hey, this person did a bad job for me, well, good luck getting a photo shoot, good luck getting judged fairly, all those sorts of things. So I just want to say be very cautious when you're choosing a coach. Do they have their reputation because they know what they're doing, or do they have it because they're influential? I mean, that's an important thing to keep in mind. And if you want somebody who is influential, more as a manager of your career, that sort of thing, I'm not going to say that there's anything wrong with that, but you need to understand going in the difference. Another thing you need to understand is a lot of nutrition coaches out there aren't really nutrition experts, they're drug experts. Now that applies more to people who are in untested shows in bodybuilding. I mean, that's a little bit more on that end. But I mean, I've even seen bikini and figure competitors get put on, drug cycles like Anavar and T3 and Clin, and I mean, come on, for bikini and figure, I mean, I'm not going to make ethical judgments about that because I think that's kind of stuff's a personal choice, but come on, you need Anavar for a bikini competition? Come on, be real here. I think that's laziness on the part of a coach. That's somebody who doesn't know what they're doing with nutrition. They're trying to cover it up with drugs. So keep in mind, some of these people are drug experts. They're not nutrition experts. And if that's what you're looking for, if you are somebody who decide, hey, I'm going to take performance enhancers, that's the way I'm going to go do this, then maybe hiring somebody like that is okay. But don't be fooling yourself into thinking that that individual is a nutrition expert when they're not. Okay, I think that's another important point. As far as other things to look out for, timeliness is a big thing. I mean, if you email somebody, I've heard of people who they email their coach and they don't hear back for a week. That's completely unacceptable in my opinion. I think that's ridiculous. I think 24 hours is ridiculous. I think one of my clients one time told me, we're so spoiled because we're used to hearing back from you in a couple hours at the most, and if we don't hear from you in 4 or 5 hours, we think something's wrong. So I mean, somebody don't have to be that fast, but my rule of thumb is, somebody should, in this day and age with smartphones and internet and everything, unless somebody's on vacation or very, very sick or there's a problem with the family, there's no reason somebody can't get back to you in 24 to 48 hours. I mean, that just seems to be, common sense. And so I think timeliness is a big thing, because if you're a competitor and you've got a big question that's been on your mind, or you're getting close to competition, that you maybe have a question about a meal that's coming up or a question about a workout that's coming up, and if somebody gets back to you in 3 days, I mean, it's not going to help you at all. So I think timeliness is an important thing. And the other thing to look for is if you send them and you're inquiring about their services and it takes them, 2 days to get back to you when you're interested in them and they're trying, obviously to get you as a client and get your money, and they're that slow, then how slow do you think they are going to be when they have your money? So that's another thing to think about. Also, I don't want to say education is everything, because I've met people who have gotten masters, bachelors, registered dietitians who I would not consider experts. I've even met PhDs I probably wouldn't consider experts in terms of contest prep and that sort of thing. Just having a degree does not make you an expert. And by the same token, just having experience of getting yourself in shape. Just because you look good, that does not mean you're going to be a good coach. And also, I think there's what I call the trifecta. Really, ideally what you look for. Somebody who has education, they have a good background in whatever they're doing. They have experience. They've worked with people before and gotten results. And they have experience with themselves. I would not be able to be a good coach if I had not competed myself. There's just so many emotional, physical, and psychological aspects that go into contest prep that I don't think I would be able to fully appreciate that if I had never competed myself. So I do think that's important. I think somebody really should. I'm going to get people mad at me. I think somebody should have competed in order to coach. I also think somebody needs to have the heart of a coach, heart of a teacher. If you send somebody a question, they say, "Well, you're just doing it. You just do what I tell you. Do what I tell you, and don't ask me." That's kind of ridiculous. Somebody needs to be able to give you, if somebody's working on your car and they tell you, "Yeah, I think you ought to put these brakes in your car, as opposed to these, which are $50 cheaper or whatever it is," and you say, "Well, why?" "Well, don't ask me. You just do what I tell you to do." How ridiculous would that sound? You would walk out of that place and you go hire somebody else to do the job. A lot of these coaches act like they are paying you with the way they talk to their clients. No, hello, you are paying them. They work for you. Now that doesn't give you the right to, expect to be able to call them at 4 a.m. or whatever, but you should expect to have a reasonable response to any question that you have. And so that's one thing the people I work with and other coaches I suggest, they all are willing to explain what they're doing. And every once in a while, I might make a tweak or something like that, and it's just pure intuition on my part. I don't have a good basis for it. But I will tell them, look, this is just some guesswork on my part. This is just pure intuition on my part. I got a hunch, I don't have a real good background for it. And so I'm honest about that. I don't make up something out of thin air, which seems to be the standard in this industry. If you don't have a reason for doing it, you'll just make one up because people will believe you. Ask Dr. Oz about that. So I think those are important things to look for in a coach. I also think ethics. I think having a strong ethical background is important. So go find people who have worked with somebody. Talk to them. Try to find people who have had good experiences. Try to find people who have bad experiences. Why did they have a bad experience? Why did this person have a good experience? And don't use that to finalize things, but just use it as a data point. What was the best thing about working with this person? What was the worst thing about working with this person? I like to think of myself as a good coach. I love what I do. I really care about my client's success. But if you look, you'll be able to find people who probably didn't have a good experience with me. I'm not 100%, I'm human like everybody else. I make mistakes like everybody else. And sometimes personalities just clash. You can be a good person, that client can be a good person, and for whatever reason, you just don't work well together. I'm not going to sit up here and lie to you and tell you, oh yeah, everybody I have 100% satisfaction, 100% satisfaction, no doubt. I'd be lying if I said that. I think I have a very high satisfaction rate. And if somebody isn't satisfied, I try to do everything in my power to make it right by them. But no, and so don't expect that from somebody. Don't expect that from somebody. But take those data points. Talk to people. Get that experience. Talk to people you trust who have worked with somebody. don't work with a coach just because that's the person in your gym that everybody uses. I mean, that's the dumbest reason I can possibly think of to work with somebody. You know, I would say be willing to work with somebody on the internet, because a lot of the best people I know mostly work with people online. This day and age with Skype and sending pictures and all this stuff, and email, and people are so fast. I mean, there's really not a whole lot you can do in person that you can't do via online. So, and honestly, a lot of times that's a much more affordable thing as compared to an in-person trainer. He may be charging, you know, $100 a session or something like that. So that's another thing to keep in mind. So nobody's perfect. At the end of the day, I think the most important thing is to really do your research and realize that you don't need a coach. This is coming from a coach, okay? Nobody needs a coach, just like nobody needs a Mercedes-Benz, okay? You can get to work walking or taking a scooter or taking a little Kia or whatever, you know what I mean? Whatever you can afford. But if you can afford it, is a Mercedes-Benz a nicer ride? Yeah. And would it be worth it for you? Sure. They wouldn't be able to charge what they charge for that car without a lot of people saying, hey, it's worth it. I know it's more than this, but, you know, I appreciate the smooth ride, I appreciate the comfort, that sort of thing. Same thing with a bodybuilding coach or figure coach or whatever. A physique coach will say. Do you need one? Absolutely not. Plenty of people who have gotten in shape without a coach. But can a coach, if you can afford it, can it make your journey smoother? Can it make it a little bit easier? Can the right coach optimize what you're doing? Absolutely. So keep that in mind. You don't need one, but they can be helpful. And just do your research. Trust your instincts. Trust your gut when you're talking to somebody. And expect a lot out of them. Don't have high expectations for the people you hire. And like I said, if you want specific recommendations, you can contact me, and I'm happy to provide, you know, contact information for coaches that I trust other than myself. At the end of the day, I want people to get the best help they can. And if that's me, awesome. If that's somebody else, that's awesome too. And you can find a lot of people who I've referred to other people for either, you know, for whatever reason they couldn't afford me, or I didn't think they'd be a good fit, our personalities might clash, that sort of thing. I just want somebody to get the best help possible and be satisfied with their experience. I don't think you're going to get that with quite a few people out there who are just looking for your money, who work with, you know, 500 people in a year. So, again, it really breaks my heart, because I am a coach, and coaches get such a negative rap in this industry because so many of them are slimy, because so many of them are shady, and honestly, a lot of the best coaches nobody even knows about because they don't get the press they deserve. They don't get the hoopla they deserve. So, but if you ask me, I'll be happy to tell you who I recommend, and I hope this video log has given people a little bit better understanding of what to look for in a coach and what to be wary of, and it helps you with your decision about whether or not you may choose to hire a coach. Thanks, guys. Look forward to talking with you soon.